Shalom Aleichem. We're learning the Sicha of Yisro Aleph Chelik Chaf Aleph. I think it's important to just give some context. Context to the context. So, wow. As you go later in the volumes, look at the Sichas, often you'll find that the Sichas are from Sichas that were said later on. Makes sense, right? The Sichas are the earlier volumes. They were published earlier, so they're based on Sichas that are earlier. Now, sometimes you'll have, for example, we have in Chelik Tezayin, most Sichas are from the mid-late Lamids. Sometimes you'll have a Sicha that goes back to the Yuds, to the Chafs. For the most part, they come from the mid-late Lamids. As you move on, and we now move into Chelik Chaf Aleph, it is some Sichas in the Mems. And for example, this Sicha that we're learning is from Tafshin Mem. Now, it's not just like, okay, so big deal, comes from the Lamids and Mems. No, because often the headspace that the Rebbe took us into was very different in each decade. Each decade had each year, each time had its own space. So, for example, you're not going to see many Sichas from before Tafshin Mem or maybe Lamates, whatever, that talk about Sheva Mitzvahs Bnei Noach. You're just not going to see it. You're going to see a lot about Yidden and Goyim, but in a very different context, as we saw quite a few times. Not so much in the Sicha, but if you've been going with us on this journey of, the Fabdengans, a lot of times they ever connected it to Mir Yehudi. And the Mir Yehudi is a very different narrative of the guy. That's the separation, Lahavdil ben Kodesh L'chel, and fighting for the status of a Yid. In the Mems, you don't see such a kacha that Rebbe, at least verbally in the Fabdengans, on Mir Yehudi. It's a very different tactic. And now that I'm not saying Rebbe switched, I'm not saying anything, I'm just saying it's a very different approach. The approach now is very much engaging the Goy. Obviously, the Rebbe repeating over and over that a Yid and a Goy are different, but engaging with them. And the whole Mivtza of Sheva Mitzvahs Bnei Noach. Now, I'll be honest, I'm not the first one to say it, but from all the Mivtzas of the Rebbe, this is by far the hardest, because till today we have no idea. I mean, you have some, people maybe extreme on the liberal side who'll start saying we have to open up Chabad houses for Goyim. I don't know. You'll have other people that will just think that the whole Mivtza is to go give out cards. You just stand on the train, you give out cards, the person has no idea what they're reading, but I've on the mitzvah as if it's like some kind of hocus pocus mitzvah tefillin, which seemingly it's not, because the person, as the Rebbe says, even in our Sicha, the person has to understand that it comes from the Eibishter, that he has to do the Sheva Mitzvahs Bnei Noach because Tziva Moshe Mepia Gvuda. So it's a very different kind of mitzvah. It's an educational mitzvah. It's about educating people in the mitzvahs, but in the background. Dafka, because like the Rambam says, Tziva Moshe Mepia Gvuda. Like the Rebbe said over here in this Fabdengen that we're learning, this Sicha is based on two Fabdengens, B'Shalach and Yisro Tav Shemem. The Machen von Rabbi Matzibur is Megala the Leiv, the Pintel Yidvas is by Yedin, but now there comes a second point. Medar Poil Nidnar by Yidin or by Goyim. You have to bring this unity. Afal Pi as by Zay is Nitchaych the ganze Inu von der Pintel Yid Nichidish of Nevsh, even though they don't have this idea, only be air and the awakened heart is Abba by Zay Oich Da. By them they also have, just like every creation that was created by the Eibishter, they have the Chayis Noeliki that keeps them alive. And you could be poil from them to also make a Rabbi Matzibur. Durch the Ruvas means by saying Megala the Chayis Lekibas by those. Now this is big stuff. How in the world are we like? Let's be honest. Most of us, I don't think any of us really know how to go ahead. But the fact is, that was demanding of us to go teach the non-Jews. And I don't think this means by joining the Republican Party, a Democrat Party, and starting becoming political commentators, as unfortunately so many of us have come in the last few years. It means, I think, Pashut educating the world how these basic skills and the Torah by revealing within them the Chayes Eliki. And wie das ist verstanden von der Rambam Paskin that Ben Noach that Mekayim and the Sheva Mitzvahs Bnei Noach, not because other edition was Mekayim like the Gemara says in Zen, and not because it's logical, nor because Tziva Moshe Kadosh Baruch Hu b'Torah by Diyano de Moshe Rabbeinu. the way one person put it, that when Moshe Rabbeinu came off the mountain, he came with two packages. One package for the Yidden, 613 mitzvahs, the other package for the guy. Das heißt, als euch bei See hat sich aufgetan in Informaten Teile, was verbunden mit and therefore the Yid has to be mishtadel to be poil on them. They should be mekayim sheva mitzvahs nenech, and everything that comes out, like the Rambam Paskins. Was das tut man euch bei See durch the was man tut das first you accomplish it by Yidden, that they should be believe echad, and that gives an sinas koyach that by the goyim they should also be. Says the Rebbe saying that we only do it by the Yidden and we then by osmosis by the goyim, or there's something active you have to do as well. Again, throughout the mems, it seems that the Rebbe expects us to do something. I don't think there's a lot of clarity, but if I could just say, it's my pet peeve that we don't talk about it enough. Because maybe if we spoke about this Mivtza and discussed it, we would get some clarity. Often it's just on in the fringe of the community that's talking about it, but it's not a mainstream conversation. Like, how do you do this? And the fact is, we are engaging with Goyim more than ever before, but unfortunately, I think we're engaging not necessarily we're just whatever, talking about politics and vaccines and everything, but that's not what the Eibishter needs us in this world for. The Eibishter needs us, and I don't know, for me, it's always been something that's spoken to me about, I'll be honest, I don't know what to do with it, but I know that we have to do something with it. Yeah, and then in Parshas Vayishlei, the Rebbe spoke about Yichan Sham Yisrael, etc. But interesting, I know it's not connected to anything I was saying till now, but in the end of the Fabling, the Rebbe just said, and I think it's just to give a bracha to all of us. Now the Rebbe says it's 20 years since they learned Tanya on the radio, so it's a time to say a shkech to all the people that are busy. That they're busy in Avtzon Hamayanis in a way that's reaching all the world. How much more so the Rebbe would say about Project L'Tei Sichas. Especially at including this, that the Rebbe says that from a new machine called a radio that was nit given the poil in Zman Moshe Rabbeinu, just that expression. It didn't in potential it existed in time Moshe Rabbeinu, and not in time of Mishnah Gemara, and not the time of the Baal Shem Tov and the Alter Rebbe when they were physically in this world. And we're using this thing to make it sinner for Fatzas Meyanis Chutza. We reach to everybody. So Ashtei Chalkom Megados Chutzam from everyone that's involved in this. The Medabdim, the Shemim, these is helping with Geld. I know PLS is going on a fundraiser. Tamchin Daraisa, Alavel and help Mikan Laba, and it should be with the Sefas etc., etc. I think it was definitely appropriate to bring this bracha to all of us. What we're doing here together each week. L'chaim, l'shalom, hatzlacha rabba, and all the Mivtzayim.